Remember when it used to give mini crits? So for those who know me quite well, you'll know that I didn't want to do a weapon review video on this channel, but as of recent, I've been interacting with my Discord server a lot, and recently I made a tier list on every scout weapon and my opinions on them and blah blah blah. Anyway, more to the point, I put the Soda Popper in S tier, and a lot of people seem to have a problem with that. It developed into some more discussions and conversations about the weapon, and it really made me realize that people don't value this weapon as much as other people do, and they don't realize how strong the weapon can be sometimes. So this is my argument as to why the Soda Popper is the best scout primary weapon in the game. So the stats of the Soda Popper are... Every single weapon review video goes into the stats like we don't know what the weapon does. The game's a million years old, everyone knows what the Soda Popper does. So instead of talking about stats for the first section of this video, I want to tell you a little story about my experience with the gun. Now, a lot of people know that I used to play competitive scout. I played him for about 4 years in 6s, and in 6s the Soda Popper's banned. And because of this, I had the prerequisite in my brain that the weapon must be overpowered if it was banned in 6s. And I'm not going to deny, my 6s experience did taint my opinion of the game and a lot of the weapons in it. Now, fast forward to the tier list I mentioned earlier, I simply put the Soda Popper in S tier because yeah, it's the banned in 6s, it's overpowered, of course it's going to be an S tier, but I never really considered it. And ever since that tier list, I wanted to make it a note to test out each scout weapon afterwards to either reaffirm my opinions or change some of the biases I might have had from 6s. But one day I was walking in the woods alone and a giant white light appeared to me and said,
"So, you wish to become the greatest scout main of all time?"
At first I thought it was God, but then I remembered I'm gay, so that's probably not the case and she doesn't really want to see me right now. Anyway, she went on to say,
"Accept my gift, child."
Seeing as this wasn't the first time I've accepted gifts from strangers in the forest, I thought, yeah, I'll take them up on their offer. And just like that, I've been using the Soda Popper for like a month straight now to find out exactly what makes it so strong. Now, naturally, if I want to talk about the Soda Popper's strength, I have to bring up the main gimmick on the weapon, the hype meter. When you've stopped missing your shots finally and had ample fisticuffs with the enemy, you'll have filled up your hype meter. Once activated, Scout will be able to jump 6 times, once off the ground and then 5 in the air for 10 seconds. Again, you probably already knew the stats, you know the Soda Popper is the jumping one, I don't need to go over it again, I'm here to explain why the Soda Popper's jumps are so fucking broken. We're gonna have to loop back to the Soda Popper because I think it's very important that I add a section here in its own little bit of the video called, guys, double jumping is actually really strong. I have a lot of hours on Scout, so trust me when I say this, the double jump is one of the most broken things in TF2. The amount of flanks you can access, the areas that you can jump to on maps, the outplay potential within combat and fighting, it's ridiculous that this ability is just pressing spacebar. Look at the other mobility options in TF2. Rocket jumping, sticky jumping, detonator jumping, sentry jumping. You can certainly make the argument that these get you a lot further than the standard double jump. And rocket jumping in general is a really versatile tool that even in the fight that you're having, you can rocket jump straight out of it if you don't want to take the fight anymore. But all the weapons I've listed so far have a little theme tying them together. This little thing called, I actually have to spend shit to use movement. From the weapons I just listed, you have to understand that you're taking health or ammo or even both in some of these situations to get where you want to go. Let's just take a little recap on what Scout has to do to use all that momentum in his kit. Pretty cool! The more and more you play Scout, the more you realise that maps aren't just an area where you can walk to the objective. You start to notice and appreciate each prop that's been placed on a map, and easily jumping onto it makes it so much harder for people to fight against you since, hey, guess what? You've got on free high ground in the middle of nowhere. I actually made this a really big point in my Highlander video to highlight. The ability to hop on and off of props makes it really hard to duel Scout, especially when you're playing solo on the flank without the support of a team sometimes. Plus, the ability to hop on and around cliffs to access new routes, or just make it generally hard for people to hit you, is an amazing ability that basically only Scout has. Everyone's had to fight that one annoying Scout player before, the one that's always above you, forcing you to fire upwards, you can never hit them, they always destroy you, it's really annoying. And listen, I have 800 hours on Scout. Sometimes I'm that dude. Sometimes I'm hopping up on your business and you can't hit me and it's unfun to fight against. But guess what? Until every shot I fire doesn't miss, I'm not the perfect Scout player. We haven't reached the peak of every single class in TF2 yet. The point I'm trying to make is that the double jump is a wonderful tool on Scout, and I don't ever want it to go unappreciated on how strong of a tool it can be sometimes. Now, to loop this back to the Soda Popper, they gave you 5! Now take everything I just said in the last segment and times it by 5, because when hype's activated, things go wild. The amount of freedom you get when this weapon unlocks itself is insane. Want to access different parts of the map via new routes? Well, just mash spacebar and you're there. Did you get yourself into a terrible situation that you regret going into? Well, again, just hit spacebar and you can get right out of there. Fighting soldiers? Don't even worry about it. They have to shoot up. They've never done that in their entire lives. It's hell. Fuck it works on hit scan classes sometimes. Oh, and what's that? You struggle to aim when the hype meter is activated? Don't worry. Because you're purple, it means people can't aim for some reason. Look at this clip in front of you. Look how bad I'm playing. Look how many shots I'm missing. And yet not one of the 5 people that can see me jumping over their heads can kill me in this scene. It's so bad. It goes on for way too long. The clip is still going. Everyone knows that Scout's greatest strength is the fact that in-game, you can activate your mobility whenever you want. And the Soda Popper just gives you a fuck ton more of that for what? Dealing damage? Like you're not going to be doing that on every game of Scout? Did I mention, by the way, the damage doesn't even need to come from the Soda Popper. You can deal it with any other weapon in Scout's kit. And while we're on the topic of loadouts, let's talk about some of the weapons you can run while also running the Soda Popper. If you really want to maximize those jumps and be an annoying dickhead, then you can run the Winger and the Atomizer. The Winger increasing every jump you get from the Soda Popper and pulling out your melee at the last second to get an extra jump out of the Atomizer. It's basically like no clipping in TF2. Quick citation, you actually don't get another jump with the Atomizer when you're hyped up for some reason. For some reason, you're holding it out while hyped and you just don't get another jump. I read that one on the wiki. Always fact check your videos, kids. Winger's still good though. Or if you really want to embrace the flank style of Scout, you'll probably want a sustain item. So running Mad Milk or the Pretty Boy's pocket pistol will keep you sustained whilst you're running around on the flank. However, if you want that hype meter filled as fast as possible, you could opt into Bleed Scout using the... I was going to say Black Cleaver because I'm a fucking League player, oh my god. The Cleaver and the Rap Assassin can both be spammed into big teams or chokes to get them bleeding and have that hype meter slowly fill up over time without even needing to commit to any fights. Kind of reminds me that the old version of this weapon used to fill up by, let me check my notes, walking, which is something Scout struggles to do, I think. The last thing I want to mention about loadouts is that you don't need to stick to any predefined loadout I've made in this video. You can run whatever you want. If you don't like the fact that the Soda Popper only has 2 shots in it, you can just use a pistol to finish off any target you didn't 2-shot. Or if you're brave enough, you can use the Boston Basher to get the most out of those jumps and fire yourself to the fucking moon. Just be sure to pick up a health pack when you're up there. With that out of the way, let's move on to our next point about the Soda Popper. While I talked a lot about this weapon with my Discord server, a lot of people came to the conclusion that it had less overall DPS than the Scattergun, and while later in the video we will go over the main points against the Soda Popper, I want to make a point now to answer the question, which actually has more DPS, the Soda Popper or the stock Scattergun? So I enlisted the help of some of my Discord server members. We positioned a heavy at the same distance in each test, and fired 7 shots from both the Scattergun and the Soda Popper into them. I chose 7 shots as it means the stock Scattergun would have had to have reloaded at least once, meaning we could at least weigh into the fact that the Soda Popper has a faster reload into this argument. And as you can see from the test, both guns have extremely similar DPS. While the Soda Popper dishes its damage out a lot faster, you can see that the Scattergun can shoot while the Soda Popper reloads, meaning the damage is extremely similar. In those first 7 shots, the Soda Popper only actually falls behind by 37 frames. Now obviously if the test ran longer, we'd be able to notice that the Soda Popper would outdamage the Scattergun eventually because it's reloading a million times during this fight, something that the Scattergun can't really keep up with. But wasting 7 shots into someone you can't kill is very unrealistic, so I'm not going to test any further than that. So far we've explained the main upsides of the Soda Popper, a weapon that even without its hype meter matches the DPS of the Scattergun, and with the hype meter makes Scout an extremely hard to hit target, making an already mobile class even more annoying to deal with. So why exactly don't people use the Soda Popper over the Scattergun? Well, obviously people have preferences. At the end of the day, if you don't like the fact that it has 2 shots and you have to reload, or you don't really want to master the jumping, or you think you just want the fact that, hey, I want 6 shots and a gun, which is fair because none of Scout's other primaries have 6 shots, that's absolutely fine. But I do want to recognize something that's extremely strong and sometimes not appreciated for how strong the weapon actually is. So I asked my Discord server their main arguments against the Soda Popper, so that we could actually talk about the downsides of the weapon and get rid of some misinformation about it. But naturally I can't do this alone. I do have a ton of hours on Scout and I do consider myself a Scout main. However, my experience with the Soda Popper is only about a year of use by now. So I need someone with extreme knowledge of the Soda Popper through multiple years of usage of it. And I have friends in high places. At Norway, specifically. Let me just Soda Popper jump there. Whoop, 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 whoop. I enlisted the help of Twitch streamer ItJazzy, someone who I definitely owe an apology to every day of my life because I once casted the Seasonlander charity event and completely ignored their play with the Soda Popper. It's their pinned tweet on Twitter.
An exit teleporter is currently up and being taken by Solo Light.
You can just hear me not watching their play at all. I'm sorry. Yep, sorry, dude. Really not ever going to live that one down. He's been using the Soda Popper for multiple years now, and if there's anyone I'd trust more with the opinions on this weapon, it's probably him.
Holy moly. I'm sorry. I'm leaving. That's why you love the Soda Popper. That's why you love the Soda Popper. You see that goddamn movement. You see that movement. You see that?
So, with Jazzy's help, let's talk about why you don't think the Soda Popper is the best scout primary. Competitive-wise, Scattergun is levels ahead of the Soda Popper, for reasons like consistency and reliability, while the Soda Popper has zero consistency and is fully relying on your ability to aim.
Every weapon requires aim. If you can't aim, stock ain't going to work out either. Saying Soda Popper has zero consistency is also a very bold claim when it's mostly people that are bad with it and doesn't understand how it's used. They play normal stock scout with a Soda Popper and end up dying when people fail to see what the stats provides. I have used it for years, and I pretty much mastered it. Never ever stumbled on the issues people make up in this thread. There's a skill ceiling to this weapon. Requires practice to be played optimally, and it seems many here have never seen it been used properly, so people don't even know what that's supposed to look like. I've used it on plenty of 6s and Highlander events that I got special treatment to get unwhitelisted for those specific events. Now if I ever get invited to them again, I'm not even allowed to scout anymore. It's actually that unfair. It's truly a weapon that's terrifying in the right hands.
The Soda Popper's ability to kill a light class nearly instantly at close range is pretty niche when stock can close out kills almost as fast.
Almost as fast? We're talking 50% here. That's kind of a big deal. And how's deleting people niche? It provides easy opportunity to engage and disengage fights regardless if you hit or miss. Dying in video games are preventable, yes, and hitting your shots better than your enemy usually leaves you victorious.
As for Scout in general, I feel like dying to the Soda Popper is genuinely something preventable and a consequence of my own decision/inability to aim. I could have predicted them with a pipe, I could have backed into a room with a lower ceiling, I could have stuck with my team. A hyped scout only feels dominant in a 1v1 outdoors. Ceilings and teammates make short work of the floaty purple man.
Again, this is just game knowledge. This is relevant to fighting every single class in the game. And implying a hyped scout only being dominant in 1v1 outdoors? It's funny, as it suggests scout just sucks being indoors or fighting multiple targets. Scout was built fighting multiple people and picking and choosing where he wants to position himself. The Soda Popper gives more options. If a Soda Popper scout dies in a low roof ceiling, stock scout dies in a low roof ceiling. And getting help from your team to kill a target is also very relevant to team-based shooters in general.
The Soda Popper is a gimmicky weapon that encourages a stupid playstyle of you running around and putting yourself in harm's way. Most Soda Popper engagements end up in an awkward stalemate with an inexperienced scout or a quick 2 meat shots from the stock scout killing you instantly. The only time the Soda Popper is better than stock is probably MVM, due to the ability of being able to bait rockets from soldier bots, having them not be aimed at your team. Other than MVM, the Soda Popper is a very punishing weapon to do well with. It fills the same role as the backscatter of being a weird gimmicky weapon and not having any realistic upside. While the several extra double jumps end up being useful sometimes, any semi-competent soldier or demo man, the main classes you'll be using this against, will be able to easily airshot you due to the predictability of Scout's movement when using the bonus. If you want to do well with the Soda Popper, don't. Equip the stock instead. Load up MG for 20 minutes and just get good. In my eyes, the Soda Popper is a more burst damage crutch that handicaps Scout from doing well in any sort of fashion.
Huh? Running around and putting yourself in harm's way? Like what the Scout does? That's kind of his job, to be in people's faces. Scout's great, because of his speed and mobility, he gets to choose fights. The Soda Popper doesn't change this. Like what? Speaking from experience? If it hit your shots, the Soda Popper Scout wins! Why make up scenarios where the stock Scout hits their shots, but the Soda Popper Scout just downloaded the game? The firing speed on the Soda Gun always wins if you hit your shots! You didn't even think through your scenario, man! Now this is a weird one. I've never seen people actually needing to do this in MVM. When you got medics with shields, soldiers with banners. Never heard about this tactic? Might be new. Got no clue. But the firing rate is great for MVM. That is true. Might even compete with the shortstop in terms of DPS, especially on tanks. If you guys know the full damage numbers, ghost upgrades included, let us know in the comments. Realistic upsides. Have you read the Soda Popper stats? It's all blue! The tiny itty bitty red text barely matters when the upsides are so great. But finally have something to work with. It being a punishing weapon. I would say this is the first valid criticism we've got. We're working with scraps here. Missing shots with a Soda Popper is a bigger deal than missing with stock. That is true. But you're not supposed to be missing. And what do you exactly mean with predictable movement? It's the definition of unpredictable movement. The Scout gets to decide where to jump. And you have a very small, tiny window to predict the Scout movement before he's killed you. He's banned almost everywhere but casual for a very good reason. I've never been airshot while in hype. I don't know where any semi-competent soldier or demo man came from. Like, I have never seen this happen. This is where we're getting to the point where this person just seems angry. They seem mad. They seem very passionate about this subject. This just seems like obvious bias here.
The one true reason is that the good skins look absolutely hideous on the fuck, this one's right. Anyway, that's it for the counter arguments. Thank you very much, Jazzy, for helping me out. This video was meant to be my argument as to why I think the soda popper is an extremely strong weapon that some people just overlook. However, an argument's nothing if you don't have discussion within it. I'm not a perfect person, and honestly, sometimes I get things wrong in the game, but I'd love to hear your discussion in the comments about your opinions on the soda popper. As we reach our outro, however, I want to present the idea that the soda popper is a weapon that gives Scout the most mobility in the game, something he definitely does not need, extremely comparable DPS to the scattergun, and is an extremely skill-expressive weapon that shows you how much you know about Scout. And that's why I believe that Scout's best primary is the soda popper. Thank you very much for watching, and another big thanks to ItJazzy for helping with the argument section in the videos, and Byte My Assy for helping me out in the intro for voicing the magical fairy in the woods. I wanted to put a lot more effort into this video because the last two videos were all about Dialander, and that tournament went quite well, so I obviously wanted to create something a bit more edited, since both those videos were very much just talking into a microphone, or just the live stream, which was cut down for time. So it's nice to be back on edited content. My links are in the description, you know exactly what they do, and you know what the buttons below the video do as well. I'm not going to explain that to you. One thing I do want to shout out again is my Discord, something that's helped me throughout the entire process of making the videos, and always just being a lovely community that I always want to appreciate, giving me a huge help on every video. The Discord's always to join, and it's one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been a part of, and I'm very proud of you all. Another big thank you to everyone who's had their artwork scrolling throughout this section as well. I love every time you draw this little fucker on my screen right now. Oh, it just fills me with so much joy. Last thing I have to announce is the YouTube memberships that you can get now. You technically do need to announce it in a video as part of the program, I'm pretty sure, or at least that's what the guide tells me. I'm not very good at YouTube, I apologize for that. I put it as like one of the lowest you can spend on a person, so I didn't really want to make it so, oh yeah, I'm gonna have an exclusive secret club of people who can watch my videos early and hang out with me, because I just don't really vibe with the whole, oh my god, they're a YouTuber, I really want to, I think they're really cool. Like, I'm just a person. I don't really value myself as like, oh cool, they make videos. But yeah, it's there if you want to support me, but I just want to advise you to not ever press that button if you're not in a good monetary standing yourself. Right now, the only benefit it offers is you'll get a video a day early before everyone else. With that, I'm going to leave you with this one last clip as an example as to why I mute all of the gameplay audio during my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I hope you like begging. Baby, begging you. I'm so glad that I'm muting the audio in this, because I just killed like 3 people, so it's probably going in the video.